if you've landed on this, it's because there's a lot of stuff bubbling up. It's all getting purged and clear right now with the eclipse season, and it's like the last shift before something big is about to pop up into your experience. Like you're about to pop off somehow. I'm getting full body chills as I say this, so I'm not here to be like a fortune teller or anything like that. You already have this knowing within you. I'm just here to mirror it back to you. And the message is coming through is, you know, that right now your faith is being tested, and it appears as if it's being tested, but what's really happening is the field is reflecting back to you where you are still playing small. And because of that, you're perpetuating an old identity that's rooted in fear-based, lack-based, scarcity-based consciousness. And it's feeling like it's very amplified right now for you. It's very illuminated right now for you. And that's because it cannot go with you into your 5D timeline. And the shift that's happening right now at the time of this recording in September 2025, as we approach the fall equinox, and we're sitting here in eclipse season, and we're getting to wind down the end of this 9-year before 2026, which is going to be a lot of big breakthroughs and new beginnings and like total like amplification of your purpose and your mission and your visibility. There's some things that cannot go with you into your 5D timeline, and anything rooted in fear, lack, or scarcity, or unworthiness, or any place you're giving your power away, any place you're still people pleasing, any place you're being codependent, or you're getting hooked into the old identity through a story or narrative that is connected to emotions in the body, which you will feel as resistance, or you will feel as tightness or anxiety or fear, and it will trigger your nervous system. So you've likely been calibrating your nervous system quite a bit. I know, like with my Rise Sister Rise calls, with like there's just yawning the entire time because there's just so much calibration happening. And whatever's coming up right now is like the last leg of this journey before you completely shift. And you've already shifted. This is not your first shift, but the message that's coming through is there's going to be big life-changing events coming in that will catapult you into sacred visibility and a leadership role, and highlight you in some way, whether that's in your community or within your work environment or the industry that you're in, or for your art or for your music or for your message or for your voice. Like somehow you're going to be amplified. You're going to be amplified. I'm getting full body chills as I say this. You're going to be amplified and visible and really anchored into your power. And it's this purification that you've been going through has been intense. And the purification that those that are meant to hear this video right now, this transmission, this purification process started a long time ago. The purification process, the embodiment process, can happen long before self-realization occurs and will continue long after self-realization occurs. And no person's journey is identical. But you've been purifying and purging for a long time. You've been on the healing journey. You've done the inner work. You've done a lot of alchemy. You're probably a healer. You're very empathic. You're very intuitive. If you're resonating with this, you are an old soul. You are a starseed, and you're here on mission to uplift humanity through your frequency, through your leadership, through your message, through your magic, through your medicine. So hello, fellow star being. Hello, fellow, you're like an immigrant from the cosmos, and you've immigrated here to planet Earth in order to get shit done. And the shit that you came here to get done is twofold. One, your own ascension journey and to live your best life, because you're here to be a living, walking, talking transmission. You're here to be a living, walking, talking frequency emanator. if that's a word, emanator. Emanate frequency. You are the signal and the broadcaster, and you're here to anchor in high frequency to uplift humanity and shift the collective, which you have been doing for years. This is not new, but it's being amplified now, and your visibility now is going to be part of this. You're meant to be seen, you're meant to be heard, you're meant to be well known, you're meant to make an impact, you're meant to create movements. There's something very special about your mission. There are a lot of star seeds and light leaders that will tune into this, and not every star seed and light leader has the same feeling of having such a big mission, but this message is very specific for those that have a big mission on their heart. And you know you're meant to make an impact. You're being amplified and like catapulted. The rest of this year is going to be like on steroids. There's a fast acceleration. There's a quickening in manifestations popping in, that the perceived gap between the asking and the receiving is closing, because you are living more and more and more in your embodied presence. This is an embodiment game, and you are here to be embodied in your divinity and leading with your frequency, and then sharing and creating from there. And there are certain things that are just not going to be able to go with you through this eclipse season and beyond, as you fully anchor into your 5D timeline. So up until this point right now, you've been oscillating, going back and forth, in and out, you know, dipping your toe back into 3D for a while, fear-based consciousness, survival consciousness, survival, you know, egoic survival patterns and things like that. And then 4D, the healing journey, the fixing, the figuring everything out, the performative identity, the personal development, personal growth, and all of those things. They're all fine and dandy on this journey, but you're not there anymore. You're not this like never-ending project that needs to be fixed and healed. Like, you're beyond that now. You're anchoring in 5D consciousness, living as the one, fully anchored in your divinity, present here now, not running from the now, attempting to run from the now in the past or future. You're here now, living more and more and more in your divine presence every single day. And you can still get sucked into identity as the separate sense of self. And I always do this motion. It feels like you're being pulled. And this is how it feels over here too. If I get hooked, which happens less and less over time as you oscillate less and less, and it's not even really an oscillation. You feel the direct experiences that you feel. That what happens is, at this point, you've probably already experienced your, what's called glimpses, or what one of my girlfriends calls God spark moments and stuff like that. So you've been given glimpses of your divinity and things like that. But what happens now is, as you're oscillating, it will feel as if you've lost it. It'll feel as if you were one with all that is, and then it will feel as if you lose it somehow, but you didn't really lose it. You're always this. There's just less clarity. It's more foggy. It's more like it just becomes less clear. Whereas when you're fully anchored in your presence, it's like pristine clarity. And it just gets foggy. But that's just like the veil of illusion that is thinning. And the message here now is the veil is a choice at this point for you. The veil is a fucking choice at this point. The veil is not only thinning, it is gone for many of you that are listening to this, and it is now a choice. If you choose to go down the rabbit holes that hook you into the small self identity. And yes, I know you're being challenged through all of those hooks that the Matrix loves to give you that are like dipped in. It's like a little hook dipped in your most potent fear-based patterns, mindsets, belief systems, things like that. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? They're like custom tailored hooks for you. They're custom tailored, where the Matrix the fear-based grid, the egoic mind knows exactly how to hook you back into the storyline and narrative, because I've said this in a different video. I described the hook as carrots, and these little carrots, they're like dangling out in front of your awareness, and they are dipped in custom tailored fears specifically designed for you to hook you either mentally or emotionally back into the fear grid, back into the fear body. And so yes, you're facing some of your deepest fears, but that's because you're also being asked simultaneously to anchor in faith, release, and let go and let God, and stop attaching to things outside of yourself for a sense of safety, security, validation, or approval. And I know that sounds easier said than done, but even in what feels like even right now, if you're watching this right now and you have fear or anxiety running in your system, in your body, in your energetic field, and you can feel it, right now is an opportunity to breathe. Right now is an opportunity to breathe and come home to yourself and diffuse it with your awareness and recondition the nervous system to feel safe. It's a psychological fear. And that doesn't mean there's not 3D things that you deal with. You will deal with 3D things. Life will still happen. But it's the psychological fear that is causing your suffering. And so this transmission is going all over the place. I hope this is resonating or making sense with whoever's meant to hear it. Right now you have a choice to breathe and center and anchor into your neutral, grounded presence and breathe. And instead of running or avoiding what you feel in your body when it arises, you don't have to go down trying to figure everything out. You can just identify the feeling in the body and the story or narrative that was associated with it that led to that feeling in the body, and you can shift and choose something differently, and you can breathe through it, and you can recognize that whatever the story is that's invoking fear in you is a lie. Whatever story is untrue. If it's not an uplifting, expansive feeling in your body, then it's a lie. Because truth is expansive. Truth will not cause more fear or anxiety in your body. So whatever stories the mind is cooking up, realize first and foremost, you are not the thoughts. You are prior to the thoughts. You are prior to the body. You are prior to the emotions. That's the shortcut. If there is a shortcut to get home to where you've never left and what you always have been, you're already prior to all of that. But I know that can sound annoying, so depending on where you're at with realizing your true nature and how much you are either oscillating between that or have clarity around that, it's going to be perceived differently. So what I'm sharing here is you are prior to all of that. You are prior to all of this, and the shortcut to diffuse from all of it is to come home to your anchored presence, and then you can diffuse and unhook very consciously and very quickly, because there's nothing for them to stick to anymore when you are resting as the presence prior to everything. That everything is arising within you, and you are the awareness of it. It's easy to see through the illusion and unhook from it. The thing that just popped in my head was from the fitness class where the instructor ended. For some reason, she said, everything exists within you. Kind of an odd statement for a fitness class instructor, but as you know, we are all divine puppets being used by Source and channeling through all the time, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're conscious of it or not. You are all of this. You are infinite intelligence. You are one with the infinite intelligence that is literally beating your heart right now. And you have no idea how that is happening, and yet it's still happening. Like the sun is still rising, and setting, and all of this is happening, and you are one with that intelligence. Okay? So I know this game of life is It's like a game of cat and mouse for like a long time until you start to come home to the truth of who you are, which is prior to form, but also simultaneously the form. So yes, it's paradoxical. You are formless and form simultaneously. You are no thing. You can't be named. You can't be figured out. You are this timeless, eternal. There's no pointing even to the truth of who you are, even prior to the I amness. Like your I am is almost like, the way I describe it is like the first degree of separation, because there's now something to be aware of everything else. When that dissolves, there is like, even the I am presence can dissolve, and I can share a little bit more on that in a different transmission. But what I was sharing is, so you have these beliefs, you have these thought patterns, you have these emotions, you have these fears arising and things like that. You have these anxieties arising, especially as the cosmic energies and cosmic consciousness and everything is like completely just like stripping everything that is not in alignment out, because it just can't go with you in your highest timeline. So you have already done the belief work, right? Like, you've done the journaling prompts, you've done like the inner child healing work for years. I get that, right? So, and there's still power in not resisting and running from whatever is coming up. You can't believe it anymore. That's the power. That's the point. Like, so there's a couple of things here coming through. One, you're not rejecting anything in the present moment, because that's just another form of fear and escapism. Like, and suppressing anything only gives it more power. So whatever's coming up, whatever's arising is arising for your purification, for your ascension. If you really want to fast track, then treat this as your ascension journey and nothing else. Treat this as your ascension journey and nothing else. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, which is within you, and all things shall be added unto you. The kingdom of heaven is within. Treat this as your ascension journey and come home to yourself. And there's nothing else to say after that, because it solves all problems. But long story short, I'm here to help articulate in a way that may be useful for you, depending on wherever you're resonating with this. So you have these things arising. There's fear arising, there's anxiety arising, there's belief systems and there's conditioning arising, and you're becoming aware of that. And you've already gone down the healing rabbit hole and journaling and dissecting all of your beliefs and inner child healing work and all that kind of stuff. That part is over. So you don't have to you're not broken. What you're now realizing and seeing through, if you're still with me here, is that you are not any of that bullshit. You are not any of those thoughts. You're not, technically, paradoxically, there's no separation of everything is all one. And so like, technically you're everything and nothing. So technically you are the thoughts, but that is not your identity. The problem here lies with a case of mistaken identity. You are not the thoughts. You are not the body. You are not the mental patterns. You are not the conditioning. You are not the fear. You are not the anxiety. Those are arising within you, including the body is arising within you, because you are all of it. You are one with all of it, and everything is rising within you. Everything exists within you. So these things are rising, and you don't push them away, because what you resist persists. And anytime you're resisting the present moment, that is literally what causes suffering. And the most common way people resist the present moment is they go to the mind and they try to fix and figure out things. And every time you jump into the mind trying to fix and figure out things, you're repressing what's actually here and now. And so there's no way around it. You can only go through it. When you stop resisting the present moment, and you, as Eckhart Tolle would say, accept the present moment as if you have chosen it, because on some level you are in energetic agreement with it on some level, or you wouldn't be experiencing it. So whether it's conscious or subconscious or on a soul level, you have chosen this. And I'm not saying that to upset anybody or trigger anybody, although if it does, it's okay. What I am saying is that, because the mind will say, oh, I didn't choose this, but I don't even know if I want to go down that rabbit hole. You probably get it, right? Like on some level, consciously or unconsciously, you're energetically entangled with whatever it is that you're experiencing. Let's just say that. Okay, so you don't resist what's happening. You alchemize it with the light of your awareness in the moment. You breathe, you anchor into the body, you witness and observe what's happening with the conscious presence and awareness, the I am presence, and you diffuse it by sitting with it. The part that causes the suffering and the jumping up into the mind and then the sabotaging tendencies or the coping mechanisms and all that is the constant running from what is. Acceptance of what is, acceptance of the present moment is the gateway to your enlightenment and your realization, not running from the now, but actually being here in it as it, because you can't be anywhere else unless you're trying to escape into mental projections, past and future, or stories and narratives of the mind. And then you just live a very conceptual reality, which most people do. And then you're just literally trapped in this conceptual reality, constantly running and chasing something, basically. So you accept it, and then you gently witness it and observe it with the presence that you are, and you alchemize it with that, and you feel it in the body. You don't run from it. You allow it to surface. You allow it to release. You breathe into it and you feel into it, and you bring your awareness and your breath to it, and you dissolve it with the light and the frequency of your conscious observation, your consciousness, which is high frequency. Your frequency alchemizes it through your conscious awareness, your observation of it from a gentle, loving place, not from judgment, not from blame, not from layering shame onto you, not from telling a story about it or making it mean anything about you, because that's all bullshit, and that's just another way that you can get stuck back in the egoic, separate sense of self, and now you're just judging yourself on top of it, and it's just layering layers of ego on top of ego. So you breathe and you alchemize it, and you choose from your place of presence what you actually want to experience from your power, from your God power, from your God presence. What do you know to be true in your heart of hearts? What do you know? What do you know about what is true? No longer buying into the fear and the doubts, alchemizing them. And so there's that shifting in the moment, shifting and recalibrating in the moment is very, very potent and very powerful, because you are a broadcasting signal to the field. You are receiving and you are signaling to the field constantly. And the more you fine-tune your signal, the better the reflection will be. But the world is just a reflection of what is going on internally. So you got to recalibrate in the moment, unless you just don't want to shift anything. And if you don't want to shift anything, that's fine. But I'm assuming that you're here to shift into your highest timeline, or you wouldn't be resonating with me, this channel, Divine Femme, like anything I ever put out, because I speak to those that are here to lead a new paradigm. And quantum shifting into your new timeline is your ascension timeline. So we're going to talk about that, because a lot of you are still trying to, these are all words that are red flags. A lot of you are trying to figure out how to get into your 5D timeline so that you can live a better life. And the whole joke there is that there is no you, and you are life. And when you operate from that place, you can actually move into your highest timeline, because your highest timeline is not rooted in separation consciousness, where there's a separate you trying to figure everything out and carve out a better life for yourself. Whether you're trying to run from a shitty life experience, or trying to attach to or cling to or achieve some kind of better life experience, both of those are the separate sense of self running from or chasing something. You're ping-ponging back within, you know, this polarity and this duality. And there's nothing wrong with polarity and duality. It's the game you came to play, but as long as you're playing it as a separate self, you will be, if you are on this ascension timeline, you will be hit with resistance because you can't take the separate self with you. The separate sense of self must die in order for you to move into your higher timeline. You can't take your egoic desires with you. You can't chase something that you feel you need in order to be successful or lovable or worthy or good enough or have more status or anything. And it's not that you can't create those things. You absolutely will create those things because everything is a mirror that's going to reflect back to you what you're conscious of being. But as long as you need it to prove something, sustain you, help you, validate you, all those things, it's called attachment. When you come home to the truth of who you are and you just emanate the field and emanate the frequency of love and authenticity and truth into the field, it automatically reflects back to you what you are emitting. And your 5D timeline is only rooted in truth and authenticity and love. It is not rooted in any distortion and chasing anything from the separate me self that thinks it needs something is distortion. And the distortion is that there's a you there to go, that there's a you there that needs to carve out a better life for yourself, when in actuality you are life itself and everything is happening within you. And so this is eventually you come full circle where you realize that the divine does ask you to play a participating role. At least it appears so, to play a participating role. But none of this is actually controlled by you. There is no you. You're being you. There is no you controlling this. This body is divinely operated, is it not? But as a human, we were granted the ability to have an individuated expression. And so the lie that the egoic mind will tell you is that in order to have an individuated expression and to thrive and to have a pleasurable experience and joy and love and all the things, that it has to be there figuring it out and controlling the process in order for that to happen. And it has to have X, Y, or Z, or it has to have that specific person, or it has to have that specific thing, or it has to have that much money in the bank, or it has to have that kind of whatever, and it has to have these certain things. And if it doesn't get those things, then all shit's gonna break loose and everything's gonna suck. And so that's the trap. Whereas the truth is, as you let go and you let God and you realize that there is this awareness of playing a co-creative role, but you really don't have any control over it, and you become more of just a receiver and a channel and a vessel consciously, because that's what you are anyways, whether you're conscious of it or not. Just like the fitness instructor sharing on the megaphone, everything exists within you. We're all being used all the time. We're all divine puppets being used all the time by the divine. This is why somebody can say something to you and it'll be just what you need to hear to activate you, and it'll be just what you need to hear to trigger you on a different day, because we're all being used in each other's story to be sacred mirrors for each other on how deeply we either are or are not meeting our true self. And that is the journey, the quote-unquote journeyless journey home to yourself. So if you really truly want to quantum leap into your 5D ascension timeline, you must be clear and honest on where you are trying to force it because you feel you need to, or you're supposed to, or You're afraid of what happens if you don't, and you're trying to run from your current present experience, and you're trying to suppress things or run from things, because the sooner you just accept what is and stop running from it, you can alchemize it and move beyond it, because you're playing a game of frequency here. You're playing a game of embodying this frequency, and you just can't hold on to those lower, denser frequencies as you move into your new earth timeline. You just can't. So what that means is it's going to get increasingly more uncomfortable and painful to hold on to things that are no longer serving you, whether it be a pattern, a mindset, a belief system, a relationship, a job, a way of doing something, like anything that's not rooted in what lights you up, what feels expansive, what brings you joy, what feels like play, anything. If it's not doing that, like if it's forced or obligated, or you feel like you're supposed to, or any of those things, like any place you're giving your power away, all of that is going to be amplified. And it's going to be really hard to continue to give your power away, or people please, or silence your truth, or dim your light, or not share your gifts, or not share your magic, or not be honest with exactly what you desire. And I say you loosely. What are the desires that want to be experienced through you? And you'll know, because they've been with you. They're soul deep, they're heart deep, they're your deep desires. They're not superficial egoic desires that you need in order to, check off a box and feel better about yourself or validate yourself in somehow that's already gone out the window. You don't give a shit about any of that right now. It's for the joy and for the experience of the expression. And specifically, if you're still here with me, it's for the impact, and it's for the service to the divine, and it's all part of it. And you don't have the ability to play small anymore, and you know that playing small is just the fear-based egoic mind. It surely is not the desires within you, and the God-given desires within you. Those are not, you won't play small when you're embodied in your divinity. You won't buy into lack or fear-based narratives when you're living from your embodied divinity. Playing small, dimming your light, hiding, that's not humble. That's not, there's so many like empaths and light leaders and stuff like that think it's like that you're like, it's more respectful or humble or something for you to like play small, hide your light, dim your light, silence your truth, people please, be codependent, just kind of like overgive at your own expense, self-sacrifice, give all your power away and things like that in the name of love and light, and not wanting to rock the boat or anything, because you're love and light all the time. And so there's this energy of martyr energy of giving your power away. And when you're embodied in your divinity, you don't give your power away. You don't have wishy-washy boundaries. You don't settle for less. You don't compromise your values. You don't chase love, money, or clients. You anchor into your truth and your knowing of who and what the fuck you are. And then you shine your light unapologetically as that, and everything that is meant for you, that's in your highest and greatest good, and the highest and greatest good of all involved, is magnetically drawn to you easily and effortlessly, because you literally become the magnet. You become the magnet. So this martyr energy, or giving your power away, or, dimming your light in any way, like all of the places you give your power away are going to be amplified, because you're being accelerated, because your mission and the impact you're here to make, and the gifts you're here to share, and the frequency you're here to lead with, is way bigger than your fears, the fears of the little mind. It's way bigger. God's got this. This is divine will in motion. This is divine will in motion, and you will be guided to anchor into that faith on this journey. You will be guided to place your faith in the divine above all other apparent form. If you are still giving your faith and your power away, or your sense of safety or security or validation or approval in any way to the world of form, whether that be in the form of form of money, form of a relationship, form of a job, form of a career path, and you're using that to somehow like be the foundation for your expansion, or just like your way of existing in the world. This is something that will be rectified on this journey, because you are source. You are one with all of it, including the money and the clients and the relationships and the career paths and all the components of that. And until you know that in your being and you live as that, you will be attached to them as if it's them that are giving you that sense of security, that sense of support, that sense of abundance, that sense of love. And that is separation consciousness, when you are seeking something outside of in the world of form, in some kind of form, to sustain your level of worthiness, joy, happiness, fulfillment, and all the things. Unity consciousness, coming home to yourself, inner union, means you don't seek any of that outside of yourself. In fact, you already realize now that and see very clearly that everything exists within you, and you don't have to strive or effort for anything, because you're already one with it. And you're one with it because you're here living as the field in no time, in your eternal presence, where things collapse instantaneously. There could still be a delay because you're here having this multi-dimensional experience on Earth. So there can still be a delay, but that delay is tied to how long it takes to collapse into that identity, because then an identity can shift. That timeline can collapse very fast, instantaneously, but it'll appear as if it's delayed, but the delay is just the signal that you're broadcasting to the field. And then that opens up the whole, divine orchestration and all the things and divine timing, but you are the timing, you are the synchronicity. So I wanted to share this really quick because this comes up a lot. And if you think about it, and I'm asking you, yes, from the just from the mind, you can anchor into how you feel about it too, but just think about it. Like, you're always in the right place at the right time to see the synchronicities that you see or experience, correct? You're always in the right place at the right time, somehow, magically, to see that license plate, to get that number sequence, to get it 5 times in a row, 5 times in a day, whatever. You're always in the right place at the right time. You always get out of your car at the right time. You drove just the right amount of time to get somewhere, just to see somebody's license plate. Like, you're always right there at the right place at the right time. Because you are it. You are one with all things. You are the synchronicity. So this will always then appear as, it always had to take that long. It always had to be that way, because you were always guiding yourself. You are guiding you. You are the field. You are one with us all. You are not the body. You are all of this. And so life is always redirecting life, and life is always guiding life. You are always being guided. So it will always feel as if you're divinely guided. And it will always feel, looking back in hindsight, that it always had to play out that way. But it only will feel as if it'll always feel as if it had to play out that way, because you were always conscious of being the person that you were conscious of being in each and every now moment along the way. Had you shifted your perception and your frequency and your signal in any of those previous now moments along the way, it would have shifted your timeline accordingly, and you would have had those synchronicities and those aha moments, and you would have had those alchemizations, and you would have had those alignments. Because each and every single moment that you're shifting your signal and recalibrating, you're sending a new signal, and reality is adjusting to that signal, because it's just a reflection of what you're conscious of being, and you are always guided and supported on whatever timeline that you're on, because you're it, you're all of it. You're always going to be guiding and supporting yourself. It's always going to be reflecting back to you whatever story you're telling yourself and whatever frequency you're emitting. So it will look as if the journey had to take X amount of time, and looking in hindsight, it all makes sense that everything worked out perfectly because you had to learn everything that you needed to learn in order to get to where you are now, kind of thing. And it'll always feel as that when you're looking back. Once you know what I'm saying? Like, you probably relate to this. You get through a certain phase of something, and then you look back and you're like, oh, now you see exactly how it all had to play out that way, and it was all perfect. And it will always be perfect. What did you think this is? There's a reason why they call it the divine play. It's infinite intelligence scripting the whole damn thing. Of course it's going to be perfect, no matter what. It's always going to be perfect. It's always going to guide you in the most perfect way based on your current point of perception, which only happens in the now, and the frequency that you're emitting, and the choice that you're declaring, and what you're taking action on or not taking action on based on what you are being in the moment. So if you're buying into belief systems that are all rooted in fear, you're going to be acting from that and emitting that. And as you shift that, there's going to be new timeline, like convergence points popping in based on the frequency that you're offering, and that's going to lead down a different path. And each moment can lead down a different path, can lead down a different timeline. And it will all, at the end of the day, look like it all made perfect sense and all had to work out that way. What I'm sharing is that will always be the case. It's always going to be the case. So now, as the conscious being that you are, do you just want to collapse into your highest timeline, or do you want to make it take 5 more timeline jumps before you get to living your best life? If you do want to collapse timelines into your best life, which is why you're here, which is what the collective is shifting into, that you are part of, or you would not still be here receiving this transmission, then I'm just here as a sacred mirror reflecting back what you already know, that whatever's popping up right now is just shit that is being purged out of your system, out of your energetic body, that cannot go with you into your new earth timeline. So that was a really long rant that finally came full circle, and I could have probably summarized it in a sentence or two. I feel like I repeated myself quite a bit there, but maybe that was just for emphasis. I don't know. I have zero idea how long this is, but I'm going to end it there. And until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.